Good afternoon all. Welcome back to the second session of Day 5 of the 5-day International FDP of Research Tools and Methodologies. The topic for the current session is Intellectual Property and Commercialization, the way forward for HUI. We have with us Professor IRTS Dr. Saurav Subramanian. Before handing the platform to him, I am Pradeep Kumar, Assistant Professor from the Department of Mechanical Engineering, Delhi Institute of Engineering and Technology, would take privilege of introducing him to the gathering. Professor IRTS Dr. Saurav Subramanian has begun his career as a lecturer at Mechanical Engineering Department, Polytechnic into Omar in year 1989. He then served the then called Polytechnic Shah Alam and Polytechnic Johar Bahru, while having served few industries in between for almost 13 years. Serving University Technical Malaysia Melaka for the past 20 years since 2003. Professor IRTS Dr. Saurav is also a professional engineer with practicing certificate and a professional technologist in the field of mechanical engineering. He holds Bachelor in Engineering, Master in Engineering, and PhD degree in the field of mechanical engineering. His PhD German supervisor has always been the role model in making who he is today. His research, innovation, and consultation activities has led him to earn numerous outputs, among which are he published more than 200 scientific publications, including books in Russia, Germany, Austria, and Marcus. He secured 65 international, national, and industrial research grants and 20 patents, where few of them have been successfully commercialized. He received 50 international and national innovation awards and 30 consultations, including ministries, agencies, and corporates. He has guided 20 PhD and MSc postgraduates. He has examined 24 international, national, PhD, and MSc theses. He is an international keynote speaker, including to Berlin and Germany. He is a Prime Minister Award winner for Malaysia Best Innovator Award 2010. He received World Championship Award 2018 in the field of industrial engineering. He is an external examiner for EAC and ETAC evaluation panel and research grant evaluator for FRGS and PPRN under MOH. Also, a Cradle commercial grant approval team member under MOSTA. He is in research grant panel of My SIAP under ASEAN Innovasi Malaysia, and many more to say about. Being passionate in the area of innovation, Professor Saurav is also the president of the Innovation Commercialization and Entrepreneurial Association of Malaysia and the founding vice president and member of the Innovation and Technology Managers Association of Malaysia. He also actively roles as a consultant, advisor, and also as an invited speaker by universities, government departments, polytechnics, associations, and schools to divulge the importance of creating high impact innovations in order to ensure our innovators, institutions, and our beloved country. Malaysia is highly reputable and recognized internationally. He is also the competent technology transfer professional certified by Alliance of Technology Transfer Professionals Scotland. Professor Saurav often been invited as a judge for national international innovation events, including ITEX, MTE, My Innovation, JAZAC Innovasi, and the A-Design Innovation Competition in Italy. He is also a mentor and evaluator of innovation programs organized by MOSTI, JKR, Yasin, Innovasi Malaysia, SARIM, MOHE, MOE, and many more. Since a decade, Professor Saurav actively involved himself in capacity building and talent development of researchers and industrialists via workshops. He runs the programs employing franchise models, particularly in inventing mining, high-impact innovation, development blueprint, and power pitching, which have been practically validated by counterparts in UK. Besides, he also coaches PhD and master's postgraduates on effective research conduct using his own model. The ultimate goal behind all the efforts by Professor IRTS Dr. Saurav is nothing but to produce high quality innovators and doctorates that could see things in dissimilar perspectives, which may uplift themselves and their respective organization to the endurance level in the context of technology development and further boost the economy of our beloved country. So we are very much pleased to have you here, and I request you to please enlighten us with your knowledge. Thank you, sir. Sir,
Very good day. Good afternoon to all of you. Can you hear me?
yes, sir. You're audible, sir.
Right. Thank you very much to Assistant Professor Pradeep Kumar from Liet for your kind introductory. A very good day to all participants from various parts of the globe involving 18 countries. And let's together we pray and hope for a great week. Well, I'm feeling grateful to meet all of you here again over the same platform, which is International Faculty Development Program, organized by Department of Mechanical Engineering, Lendi Institute of Engineering and Technology, India. My special thanks to Lendi Institute of Engineering and Technology for allowing me to share my knowledge via this platform for the second time. My heartiest and sincere thanks to Professor Dr. Satish Pujari, the head of Mechanical Engineering Department. Once again, I'd like to kindly and humbly inform you ahead that I'm here not to teach, but to provide the big picture of post-research aspiration, which is the continuation of research excellence that we have together looked into on the 29th of September. I strongly believe my very robust journey in the area of research management, intellectual property, innovation, and commercialization of technology have prepared me to be much improved personnel who fit well to share with you of my experiences. Before I forget, I would like to thank the huge request made by 273 participants showing a great interest to know further about Siva Thum Cube model through the Google form. It clearly shows how much we are all in the need of growing in area of research excellence. I will definitely come back to everyone who wanted to participate in that model. I also thank the organizer at this juncture for their kind help in disseminating the feedback link via all WhatsApp groups that they have established. Similarly, at the end of this session, I will also drop another link in the chat box of today's talk model. For those who are interested, kindly respond to the link for me to reach you in written. Finally, I really hope that combining of my previous sharing, which is research excellence, together with today's talk about intellectual property and commercialization, will prepare us ahead in strategizing the entire spectrum of translating our research into the market need. Well, let me get started. Before that, this is the final session of the grand event, and I humbly call all participants to fully enjoy the session, which might take a little longer than expected. I wanted to give my best to fellow researchers across the globe so that you could attain best within much shorter period that I have gone through the learning curve. Well, let's begin. Just give me a minute. I think I've got some. All right. Okay. Okay. Now, I'm not so sure for what reason we are all here. Maybe some of you are here because you want to know something new, or you want to verify whether the knowledge that you have, whether that is where you are supposed to, or you are here to help further of your colleagues, or to seek guide, or to further understand better of what you already have. Or in some cases, the supervisors will force the postgraduates, you have to attend this, right? So whatever it is. So basically, these are the 4 scenarios that we normally see where the researchers face. The first one is, you know what you know. When it is you know what you know, you stand very strong. And this will enable you to train and guide others. So it's no problem with that. Then comes the second one, you know what you don't know. This is good. We realize where is the gap, what should I put in, right? So this is very good, and we will fill in the gap accordingly. And that could be also one of the reasons why the participants joined today. All right. So the third one, we have got third version. You don't know what you know. We have a lot of things in us. We have got a lot of skill. We have got a lot of knowledge, but sometimes we don't realize. For this, you must have great friends around you to unlock your potentials. So this is very important, right? And the last one, you don't know what you don't know. And this is very, very dangerous, right? And it requires a lot of engagement to identify one, whether the reason is, okay, or not whatsoever. So these 4 categories plays 4 different roles to identify who we are. It's very, very important, okay? Okay, anyway, I hope all of you can just sit back, relax. Friday afternoon here, I think in few of other countries, out of 18 countries, I don't know which is the time zone. So I believe it is afternoon. Just sit back, relax, and simply travel with me. Just move on with me, just listen, okay? As I told, as what I've covered in an earlier session, this is the bigger picture. I wanted to provide the bigger picture so that once we understand the bigger picture, we could strategize better and the operational becomes so easy for us, right? Okay, I give you a simple example. Let me bring you to a very short story. An old man used to be called uncle. Went to the hospital, I think as we used to take our parents to hospital. And as per the usual formalities, he has to undergo measuring of blood pressure, height, weight, and etc. So the nurse told to the uncle, "Uncle, please remove your shoes and weigh." And the uncle say, "Okay, nurse." And you know what has happened? This is what exactly happened. So I would like to remind that sometimes, you see, in this context, the nurse might claim that she has told perfectly, and the uncle should have understood well. And when you ask the uncle will say, "This is what I understood. She asked me to weigh, remove my shoes and weigh, so I wear it." So this clearly indicates to us sometimes the miscommunication can happen. And see what uncle has done. He has removed his sandals and he wears the sandals. You see? So this is where the big gap happens. In many organizations, and research can never be exceptional. Especially when we have got layers of faculty and we have got layers of scholars or postgraduates. So we tend to understand to the level that what we have. And that is why it's very important for us to verify whether what we understood is what exactly we are to be done. All right, okay, let's move further. Well, we have previously learned that university is a place to generate and disseminate knowledge. And we have clearly understood university and the difference between university and school. School also generate and disseminate knowledge. But what makes universities stand different? Universities, they generate and disseminate new knowledge. This we have to understand better of its aspiration, where we could contribute along, right? So just to share with you, as what our MC, Assistant Professor Pradeep Kumar has mentioned, my supervisor was a German guy. So I learned a lot of things from him. He always tell me, Sivarao, this is your PhD and his reputation. It's my PhD and my supervisor's reputation. And I would categorize him as my best supervisor that I ever had. He will never advise, he will never give a guide. Instead, expects me to understand and rise to his level. And with no excuse, I have to brush up myself. I have to read a lot of his articles. I have to study his pattern to rise myself to his level. And he also somehow has driven me to turn me into a very critical thinker, where I become much robust and very critically, and I can analyze very critically. He always tells me there are always two situations, vertical and horizontal. And he said, as a PhD candidate, you have to think very, very vertical, a little bit on the horizontal. Okay. All right. When we say new knowledge, being a faculty member, our focus should be on the science of know-how. Science of know-how. And it has to be scientifically derived of our findings. Believe it or not, I believe most of the faculty, you experience the same as what I undergo. Everyone nowadays, they want everything easy, fast. Thus, not many researchers really prefer to justify their findings scientifically. When you emphasize on it, they tend to say, my supervisor is crazy. He is forcing me to go to his level. My supervisor is cruel and he is making my student life very difficult. And some may even tend to change supervisor. Look for someone who's not critical. Look for someone who can accept whatever it is. And this is not a good sign in the spectrum of research, especially in the context of universities. I had a student, postgraduate student. He's a first-class undergraduate, first-class degree. He did fantastic project, but when I emphasize on scientific, after a week, he gave me a letter saying that he's stopping. So if this is a scenario happening for a first-class student, what could we expect for those who are very applied? So we supervisors must balance, and it's our responsibility to teach them accordingly. Okay. I have explained in our previous talk that most of us have no problem fulfilling the knowledge domain at the research phase. Okay, this knowledge domain is always not an issue and partially move into the service domain. Unfortunately, very small number of researchers succeed into this technology commercial domain. Universities with great infrastructure, funding capacity, expertise, etc., is continuously trying to increase the percentage of technology transfer, which is not easy. But it is not impossible. Thus, we will today look into how should we utilize our research findings and knowledge to reach the market. That's our goal today. How? What are the tools? What are the mechanisms? You see, this is what we are going to look into. This is the most crucial and needs strategical and tactical move, and not forgetting the connections we need to have. Thus, we need different level of skill sets, where especially designed models, tools can actually help us. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. These are the primary innovation domains. We have looked into 3 transfer domains in the university, and these are the innovation domains. We have got technology, we have got services, and we have got product or process innovation. And if we look around us, we cannot run away from this 3 or rather 4 when you break it, the last one you break it into 2. Right? Then within these domains, there are types of innovations, namely architectural, incremental, radical, disruptive, that you may want to position your results or output accordingly. Okay, so I may not want to dwell so much into looking into the types of innovations within the domains. Okay, maybe you can look for these answers. So therefore, we are going to look today what actually innovation, how innovation can or should be connected with research, and how could this research translating into innovation, and how can we bring this innovation into the market so that industries or public will take benefit from them. Right? So I'm going to give a very simple definitions so that you don't have to spend time and so much of effort to remember. All right. Innovation is nothing but the engineering of know-how. That is all about innovation. Engineering of know-how. Most of us knew the broader definition of engineering. Okay. And until today, there is no crisp definition of innovation. And normally the definition will change based on the core business. So my simple definition is innovation is nothing but the engineering of know-how. And the know-how means something new that you know best about and not obvious to a person in the field. This is where most research or innovation have the gap, because sometimes we move too fast, or sometimes it is not deep enough to distinguish our expertise and contribution as compared to another person in the field. Okay. All right. Now we have seen what is innovation. Let us see what is engineering then. What is engineering? Engineering is a creative application of science, mathematical methods, and empirical evidences to the innovation, design, construction, operation, and maintenance of structures, machines, materials, devices, systems, processes, and organizations. And the know-how is the practical knowledge of skill under expertise. All right. So now we can understand what is innovation, and we try to associate with engineering. And we'll see further. So what engineering has got to do with innovation? Engineering does not mean the core engineering that we used to think about. In a broader perspective, it means and applies across any fields, including arts and sciences. So engineering is the development of new solutions towards commercialization for cost moderation, time reduction, quality improvement, or rather performance enhancement. We cannot run away from these four things that we would want to embark on. So, in short, innovation relates to engineering, and we know what is engineering and how this engineering you want to turn it to become a new solution to address that four issues. And this is what we call innovation docking. So innovation docking is nothing but the process of translating research findings or idea into goods or services which create value for customers who would want to use or pay for it. You see? But before we could reach to this stage, it is good to look into three common measures of whether or not our findings will be worth investing. So what are those three measures? When we do something in the lab, when we translate that knowledge into a product to demonstrate or to validate our idea, we have to look into three elements. First is novelty, which is whether it is new. When it is new, it does not mean new in my university, new in my country, or new in my state. No, it has to be new to the world. Only then we can talk about going further into commercialization stage. It has to be new to the world. Well, novelty, normally no issue, because novelty is nothing but just a little newness that you add on. The second one is inventiveness. How inventive are we in coming up with that solution? So a simple definition for inventiveness is a person in your field should not feel that what you have done is so simple, even he can emulate. In another word, it should not be too obvious for the man in your field. then why should I spend money? Why should I spend time? Why should I do something that is already in existence, but maybe I don't know? It doesn't appear to my eyes. You see? So it's very important. And third, if it is novel, if it is inventive, fantastic. Do you have takers? Are they, or is your solution applicable at industries? So these are the three measures. And these are the three measures also we use when we evaluate patent, right? So very quickly, we will look into some solutions that has come up, and we will see how to go about. Well, we can see here, these are the deep tech applications. It's no more technology alone. Now people are started to talk about deep technology. Deep tech. Oh, is it technology? Yes, technology. Is it deep tech? Well, I need to measure. How deep is your technology? Then they will think whether that is obvious or not obvious. So if you have charge card, where it can charge your phone in 10 minutes, fully charged. And then you have self-riding bicycle. You might be asking, why do I need self-riding bicycle when I have motorbike? When I have cars, autonomous cars, why do I need bicycle? Well, it is again economical, lightweight. You require lesser energy, lesser power, all right? And it can balance on its own, and you can avoid traffic. And the last one that I would want to show here is the deep tech, is the Apple car. It has full of 360 degrees features. So what do you think the transfer domain that is taking place for all these three products? Obviously, the products, not the products as per se, because the products are used to demonstrate the technology. So what has been transferred from universities to the industries is the intellectual property. We call it IP in short. If you do not have IP, you know what will happen? You will discuss with the industry will say, okay, fantastic, it's good. And if they copy your idea, you have no platform to claim that origins from you. So therefore, everything that comes out from our lab fulfills the criteria of protection, should be protected by IPs, respective IPs. And the same goes like our handphone. Our handphone has got multiple IPs. It is not one demonstration has got one IP. It has got multiple, right? So now you will see why the IP is important. And when you have the IP, only then you can think about the next things that you can generate, right? So let us see what is next thing that you can generate. Recognition. Who doesn't know Apple? Who doesn't know Samsung? And do you know how many thousands of IPs they have? And most of the IPs are generated from the universities. You see, Samsung overrides Nokia because Samsung works very closely with universities. Because universities, they have got very young brain. All the supervisors are old like me. But the students, the postgraduates under them, they've got very young brain. They have the ability to catch things fast. They pick things fast. They can connect things. They will go back to the supervisor. And the supervisor is slow in moving physically, but he can think and connect very wisely. So when the young and old gets together, you blend into so many solutions. And these solutions, when you protect, actually you can come up with so many things. And when these solutions are protected, then you can look into recognitions, awards. You can win awards everywhere. I will share with you later my experience. Commercialization. You'll be able to commercialize what you do. Wouldn't you be so glad to see something that you have started in the lab, playfully maybe? You have progressed in stages and someone else is using it, and you can say, this is the product from the Lundy Institute of Engineering and Technology. This is a product from UTEM. Is it? So that is why when you want to commercialize, it has to be accordingly which domain you partner. And from here, you can also look into the spin-off and startup opportunities, where people from the university itself can take up this technology. You can open up your own company. You can run your own business. And you can be proud of that this is your local technology grown in the university, and now I've spin it into a startup or spin-off. And from there on, you can expand further. And also when you have this, you can go for innovation and commercial grants very easily. Very easily. Perhaps you must have that 3 elements that I've mentioned earlier. And you can also collaborate with industries to look for some collaborative grants. And when you have all this, what I've put there are not in total. When you have all this, I tell you, you will enhance the visibility of your institution. The visibility of your institution. And this is how all the top ranked universities, if you ask your child, name me 5 universities in the world, the best you know. Rarely they name the normal universities, although they are doing well. Why? Because of the visibility. So the goal here, in the first session, was one Dr. Sanjay or something. He has asked question. He said, so what is the fundamental to measure if one university is excellence in research? In simple, when we can enhance the visibility of our university, it shows that we are in the correct track of excellence. And of course, all the attributes that I've shared will come in place. Without them, it is very difficult. Okay? All right. But before arriving to this stage, what is the most important element to protect? What? And claim those of what you translate are actually your original idea or findings. Let's look into it. Next slides. Okay. Research. This is what we have discussed earlier. Okay, this is what we have discussed earlier. We have done this. And today we are going to look, how can I bring this to here? How can I bring this to here? Right? So research is turning knowledge into the idea of new findings. So we use money, do something, try to come up with new knowledge, new findings. And this is the knowledge that we will bring to the classroom to share with our students. We don't share things in the textbook alone. We have to bring our consultation, our research experience to the classroom, associate them to the chapters, relevant chapters in the book, or according to the syllabus. That's research. So post-research is what we are going to look today. It's connecting research findings into an innovative applications. One. And number two is protect the new idea for application. And third, transfer the application. In this context, application means it can be the product, services, technology, or process. Okay. So connect research findings, protect, transfer, and finally, what else? You generate income. So the most important asset to make the post-research to happen is nothing but intellectual property. I'm not so sure how many universities of the participants here are emphasizing the importance of intellectual property. That is the bridge. That is the only bridge that can realize our dream to enhance the visibility of our university, where you will bridge from the lab to the market. Okay, so now we know this is the bridge. Now we will very quickly look into what exactly intellectual property is and the types of intellectual property. I'm sure many of you knew about it, but for those who are not, especially if there are a few postgraduates here, if you have the knowledge of this, you can easily identify whether the work that you are currently embarking on needs some protection or not. You can talk to your supervisor. Okay, you can talk to the management. If it is very novel, fantastic. If you don't protect, finish. And you have to protect it within a year from the day that you disclose. There are a lot of things, a lot of things. Okay, so let us see that. Intellectual property, you have got plenty of types. But let's see what is the definition first. So intellectual property refers to, or in short, we used to call IP. Refers to creations of the mind that used in commerce, such as inventions, literary and artistic works, designs and symbols, names and including images can be protected. We will see some examples. And you always will also listen to this term, intellectual property right. IP and IPR, they are two different things. IPR are the rights given to the person over the creations of their minds. They usually give the creator an exclusive right over the use of his or her creation for a certain period of time. Every IP has got its lifetime. Patent 20 years. Copyright 50 years after the owner passed away. So everything has got its life. And that is where you can see now, air fryer was invented by Philip. Air fryer was invented by Philip about 22, 23 years back. And after the patent expires, now everybody tend to develop air fryer. And air fryer of Philip costs about Ringgit Malaysia 1,005 to 1,008. And the other brands, which is equally functioning the same, is only about 200 ringgits. You see why? Because it has expired. So Philip cannot sue anyone for copying their patent. So once 20 years, the patent will become public domain. Okay, right. I don't want to cover so much on IP because IP is a 2 days course. IP is 2 days course. If you want to understand the entire spectrum of IP, it's very, very important. Instead of research and commercialization, I would say this bridging knowledge is the most important. So if you have time, please try to understand IP in a closer perspective. These are the types of IPs. We have got patent. Patent, the purpose is for new inventions. That means it's totally new in the world. And the process is on applications and examination. That means it is not that when you apply, you will get it. You will have examiner. We will have it almost in all countries. We have got intellectual property office. So they will examine the application and they will see whether yours qualify to be filed for patent. See? And then it is the second one is the copyright. Is the original creative or artistic forms. Normally it exists automatically, such as books. You see, books we don't do any process to, normally we will put C, right? Copyright. But in certain countries, they practice certification for the submission. So we will submit, and once submitted, they will produce one certificate which you can use in case if you see someone infringe of your copyright. And the third one is trademark. So it is a distinctive identification of products and services. So process is registration. So you have to register that. So when you register, there will be, because it has got classes for you to select. So there will be, it is not examination, but it is a registration. For example, it's Google. So no one could use Google simply wherever they want without the permission. So that is how we can protect. And Google itself worth billions when you use it in the way that it is supposed to. And the fourth one is industrial design. It is normally the external appearance or profile. So it needs registration, and obviously the car profile. You see, that is why you couldn't see any brand of the cars, any make of the cars are identical, because those are all protected under industrial design. And I've put a sample bottles profile. Even the bottles, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, they will have a little bit of difference in the bottles if they don't come from the same company. See? And the second last is trade secret. So the trade secret is valuable information not known to public. So this one you will never disclose, but there is a procedure for you to perform so that when someone infringes your recipe or whatsoever, you have some kind of document to take to the IP court to claim that you are the originator of that formulation. And this is normally applicable for formulation. For example, McDonald's, KFC, Pepsi, Coca-Cola, they don't reveal their formula. So those are all protected under trade secret. So if you are intelligent enough, you want to characterize and you come up with your own chicken that tastes exactly like KFC, they cannot sue you. They cannot sue you because you did not take it from their trade secret. Perhaps they might come. Okay, they might come and they might discuss with you. If you can explain to them they couldn't sue you. If you can prove that that is your original, your intellect that you have created on your own without referring to any of their trade secret formulation, then no problem. And the last one is geographical indication. And this is distinctive identification of geographical origin. So this is normally goes by geographical. For example, we have got here by place. For example, if you want to say Gujarat, the tea that you put it in Gujarat is so nice that no one else can come up with that kind of essence. It only comes in Gujarat, for example, or in Cameron Highland in Malaysia. Okay, so you can claim that that is geographical identification indication. Okay, it's identified by the geographical condition. Right, so I hope you can roughly understand what is IP and the basic types of IP. In engineering, we normally use patent, trademark, industrial design, and also trade secret for some reasons. For science-based, for arts and so on, you will use more on the copyright, industrial design, trade secret. For agriculture, we will use geographical indication. Okay. All right. So it's very dangerous. It's very, very dangerous for me to explain about IP just in few minutes, which is supposed to be few days for us to understand best of what IP and how it is applicable. Okay. So it's very, very dangerous, and I warn, including me. So please do not mislead. I have seen people when I go, I become judge for many innovation events. So a person without a good knowledge will advise the participant, you can protect, you can do this patent and so on, which is very, very wrong. So this misleading should not happen if we do not have the prior knowledge of IPs. All right. So it takes 2 days. So what I've given you is the swath of it, or the mirage of it. So I do not want anybody to get confused in this what I give you. But one thing to remember is IP is essential. IP is very, very essential before we could commercialize our findings in the form of technology, product, process, or services. Well, I will talk about it later in detail. If you can bear with me, I might go a little very slow. We started at 4, now 5. I'm on slide 13 out of 50. So let's see where we can go, right? Okay, to make you understand, okay, let me give you an analogy. Let me give you an analogy related to our research, intellectual property, and commercialization. Disclaimer, the numbers that you could see, these numbers in the bracket, okay, in the bracket, are the duration for completing each phase. That means for research, roughly you have to take how long? IP, it should take for how long before you get the IP? And how long should you dwell to go into the commercial state? And not the relationship period per se as what you can see on the screen. So the first thing I would want to see is falling in love, right? When we do research, we continue our research, we are so passionate. We will be in the lab from morning until night, continue doing research. It takes years, and it takes too long to reach or to attain the endurance of the research output. So similarly, we don't keep on learning in our life without moving to the next phase. So there must be a parting line where, okay, this is a period that I'm going to validate. Once done, I'm going to move to the second one. Okay, love is over. Going all over here and there by motorbike is over. Now I am going to get married. When I get married, you get a certificate saying that your partner belongs to you. You belongs to your partner. So you have no more choice. Choice was only during your research phase. Gone. Okay, research phase gone. You can never shop for a better partner once you are married. Okay. So when you are married, you build strong bonding. We will then know the true color of our partner when we stay together. You see? Then when you get the IP, you will understand, can I really get this IP? Oh, I thought IP is so easy. Why is it becoming so difficult? Oh, I thought getting married is easy. But why is it so difficult? So is IP. If we were to know the essentiality of our research findings, apply for IP, and then go for recognitions. Go for recognitions, awards. Will feel happy. Then you will definitely feel happy and secure. Nobody else can steal my idea. And this should take no more than 1 to 5 years. And once you are married, what is next? What is next that can make you happy? You must have a family. So a family, that means you get married is IP. The IP need to turn into commercial aspects. So you are only commercially viable that when that IP you bring it to the market and someone else willing to take it and reproduce it. The same goes for the family. So within 10 years, okay, so we feel holistically successful only when our kids attain a greater level in education or career, which takes about 10 years or even more. This the IP has to be taken for commercial to reflect the best, impact of our research findings, where you transit from love, lab, nikah is you get married, and family is commercialization. Remember these three things. So that is why I bring this analogy to you. So hope now all of us could relate our research, IP, commercial in much simpler way, associating with our life journey. So this after, if you want to ask your colleague, hey, where are you now? Are you still in love? Have you got married? Or have you commercial? Your research. And then you can correlate with the duration. So I hope this analogy can make things much simpler for you to understand. So what is next? What is next? We have seen research. We have seen the bridge IP. We have seen what commercial is. And we have seen the essentiality in bringing the research to the market. What is next? Right? It's the measure. It is the measure. Now we have to measure the innovation chain, converting from lab, okay, converting science to wealth, or people say lab to market. So we have got different phases, and this TRL has been developed by NASA, where TRL is called technology readiness level. You see, they don't call product readiness level. They don't call process readiness level, because they know the high-end intellectuals, they dwell so much on technology. Unfortunately, only or below 10% of technology is being generated by most universities. I'm not telling all, but most universities. From what I found from my network, because I'm also in the Technology Managers Association, and we also had discussions with UK counterpartners. So we also have, I mean, the scenario is almost the same. it is very difficult to change the mindset of this faculty. It is very difficult. It is very difficult. Okay, and probably from my experience, because of the aspiration, put the aspirations, make them feel that my university is my family, my university is my second home. Let's see if we could see some changes, right? Okay, so we have academia, so we should end at TRL4, and you should move to the collaboration, okay, to the collaboration where you need industrial partners. And then you move to the industry. That means business development. This is knowledge development, technology development. That means here we transfer into the knowledge, technology, and the early technology with the collaboration of industry, we will develop the technology fully. And once this is fully developed, we will move to the business development. Okay, excuse me. I hope everything is okay with you guys. It's pin drop silent because everything has been muted by the organizer, right? Okay, let me share very quickly how I actually fit into this environment. Even though then I didn't know the existence of this. And it happens naturally, or rather organically. It happens organically, and somehow it fits very well. So I'm going to share with you. Let's see if you could take the points and you can start moving that way in your place. If you could do that, you could fulfill the entire spectrum. Believe me, entire spectrum. I've done. If I can do it, you definitely can do it. If Sivarao can do, anybody definitely can do. We are in the same environment. We are in the almost same environment. We have got postgraduate, we have got facilities, we have got expertise, we have got knowledge, we have got library, we have got everything. Of course, we have got serious bosses too, that turn to be a serious person like me. You see, my daughter is putting a smile mark. She asked me to smile. You see, it's a problem, you know. When you become a core researcher, somehow it turns you to become very serious. Okay. All right. Very quickly, I'll just read out. Okay. And you pick things up. Okay. All right. How was my journey? The first, I observed there is a problem in a solution that I every day see, but others don't see. So I do not want to feel that, am I only seeing this problem? Is this problem only for me? So second step was, I make a quick survey. I just ask around to see if they also have that problem. And surprisingly, when the response was significant, I immediately spent my own money. Developing concepts in a very smaller scale. I want to make sure that what I contribute overrides the existing technology. You see, so I immediately do it. So I'm quite crazy in that manner. I'm not necessarily to follow me. And please, if any heads are here, bosses are here, please don't use me as example. Don't ask your subordinate or your co. If Sivarao can use, you should also use your own money and develop concepts. Please don't do that. Because I have a lot of problems. I face a lot of problems spending so much of my money into my research, my personal research, as compared to my family. A lot of arguments. Right? So I don't have to dwell on that side. I stop that. Okay? So I spend on my money and then I come up with concepts. And once I see the concept is working, it triggers my mind. Well, I have to move. I have to move. So I applied for IP. I applied for IP in my university. Back then, the knowledge of IP even in my university was not strong. Not strong. Nobody to advise, this is what you should have, this is what you should not have, this can go, this cannot go. No. But I had, because at that juncture, I don't know why, I had few patents, and I feel that the university should not be spending so much of money only for me. And I started learning and drafting patents on my own, which is a little bit difficult because it uses legal language. But I managed to secure few. But even then, I draft on my own. It has to be approved by the university. So what I'm trying to say, if researchers, if they want to do, they can do, if you have the passion. So I applied for IP and it has been approved, and I applied for internal funding. I said, I've spent enough money. These are the concepts that I've developed. I need to go further. If I go further with my own money, I will divorce my wife. So they said, okay, we'll give you funding. They gave me good amount of money that I was able to develop the POC, the full POC with test rigs to test, because it has to function few times. It has got cyclic functions. So I developed the rig control system. When I say I, it does not mean I alone. I lead, but I had my research team that comes from electrical, electronics, control system, and so on. So that's what made this project to go fast very quickly. So I at this juncture really thankful to my group partners. My group partners that we work day and night. We develop this. And with that POC, where I can easily show to my industry, anyone who comes, I can show to them, look, this POC is actually to override this technology. And how much advantage this stands as compared to others. I can show side by side. So I approached few related industries that caters that kind of technology for collaboration. Of course, when I say collaboration, is monetary as well as expertise. Because at times at university, we think we know the best. We are the swimming pool only, trust me. When you go to the actual industry, that is the ocean. When you go to ocean, it's totally different. You can't even swim with the full gear set. Cannot. You see, cannot. It's very difficult. So we bring them to advise us, what shall I do further so that you will be happy to take this technology? You see, now we are not only buying the ideas, but we are also selling our ideas. So if he feels that our technology is going to add value to their business, bring more money for their business, why don't you think they will pump in money for us to develop it further? So they pump in money, we come up with a better full scale, almost full scale, and we come up with few types to test which actually gives the best results. And then we say, okay, university has given you money, and that was only enough for small scale. Industry has given money and expertise, that is only enough for moderate scale. Now, let us go for full scale. So what is the strategy? Let us go for government funding. So we move on. We move on and we got knowledge KTP, knowledge transfer program funding. We have got good amount of funding. And with that, we design and develop a full-scale prototype. Full-scale prototype, not one, multiple. So now you see, I've got IP. I can only talk to the industry. Why? Because I know the industry cannot copy my design. They cannot steal my design. At the same time, I value add to the industry, so they'll be happy. You see, if he steals my fish, I have the fishing rod. But if I, together with him, improve the fishing rod, we could yield better. We could catch more fish. You see, then we move on. What happened? So we validate. So together, after we get the grant, we tend to do all the tests. Okay, all kind of tests we do, all range, because we have money, no issue. And then at the same time, we went for validation and recognition. And because this technology has got standout output, my university and also the industry, they sponsor for the project to be taken abroad. And we won few awards, gold medals, and also special awards from Brussels, Korea, Switzerland. While we are getting that from the proof of concepts that has been fine-tuned, we put to the actual field test with the help of collaborative partner. Now, we fix it at the place where the industrial partner has his own customers. And at the same time, I'm quite fortunate because the collaborative partner, they have got counter partner in Germany. So they discuss with this counter partner in Germany to see if they are interested. And we had some negotiations, and then after we brush up and fine tune to the standards to comply of their compliances and standard. And once we are here, still no one stole the idea. The industry discuss with the university. Of course, I'm in the picture. The industry wants to license the technology. They want to take the technology from the university into the industry. They want to take that license. And university has been so happy because mine was the first one, if I'm not mistaken, the first one to commercial to that extent. See, commercial to that extent. Then the IP is transferred to German counterpart through the collaborative partner. So through this, what university gets? University gained extra income because the German counterpart, they pay for the license. And of course, my university appreciated of my efforts and they have paid me very handsome value. I really thank my university for that because they really appreciate my efforts from the day one. So basically, I recovered whatever money that I have spent. In fact, beyond that, I have recovered easily whatever money that I have spent in my pocket spending to come up with a concept. And at the same time, I become consultant for the technology sustainability for both sides. And to my surprise, I was awarded the Best Invention Award by Prime Minister. Not only that, I won the University Academic Award in the context of research. I also won University Academic Award in the context of innovation and commercialization, where these two are very competitive. Okay, these are annual events. So you might be asking, what is all this about? What is so special? Is this rocket science? Definitely no. It is basically an energy saving locking system that can save energy up to 96%. 96%. I basically inverse the principle of electromagnetic into an electromechanical system, which not only the cost is very economical, but also enabled better security system as compared to the existing. So how did I manage to get in sequence? Actually, all of us can do that in a much easier manner should we have the correct guide and tool. Since I was not guided then, it took number of years for me to understand the journey. Very difficult, very difficult. And when you scout around who can actually advise on this, very limited number, very limited number. So it was very difficult. It is not as how easy or how resourceful as it is now. Thus, I developed my experiential model that can be benefited by all of you. I will quickly share with you the secret. If you can put in place of yours, of course, it is a little bit difficult because you have to dive in to apply the modules. But by knowing the essence, you will understand. So basically, it is I practice and keep practicing high impact research and innovation development blueprint, a Sivarao model approach. Why is that called Sivarao model? Not because I came up with this blueprint, but it is not only because of my name, but also the acronym of the 7 strategic steps or modules. So you could see the 7 steps. The first step is S, then second step is I, third step is B, fourth step is A, and followingly, it will complete my name. So what exactly it is? What is the first step? Search. This is the first step. The step number 1 is search. I hope you don't mind, just give me a few more minutes. I'll try to finish this as quickly as possible. So the step number 1 is search. We all do searching. Are we getting the exact answers? Or at least nearing answers? We often go too broad, rather balancing the breadth and depth accordingly. This is the most underrated step in looking for if what we are to perform is essential. You see, so whether should I continue, should or should not I continue with this research? Is my idea good? Can my idea really work? So this very important stage. A lot of postgraduates, they'll say, you give something, oh sir, don't have. So when you come back and say, okay, you sit in front of me, I will search for you because I know the tricks of searching. If I can search in 3 minutes, you fail. Will you do? No, sir, I'll go back. After 3 days, come back. He say, no. I say, okay, come here. I'll teach you. I search. Within 1 minute, I can show to him the existence of what we are searching, which the postgraduate or other colleagues, they will say, no, I didn't find. So when you say you didn't find, you will claim that is novel and you will embark on it. Is it? So improper search can take huge amount of time and energy and end up with go nowhere after years of hard work on the project. It can actually mess up our end product. We must be able to tactically search, and there are few strategies to be applied in sequential order. So strategized search is equal to you are ahead of 50% of the people. So strategize or search, that's the keyword. And second, investigate. Search and investigate, they are 2 different things. Step number 2 of Sivarao model is investigate. This is the longest process of all. Why? This is where creativity pops up. This is where creativity pops up. You must know the existence, the non-existence, how you need the tools to guide you. So this involving process of gathering great minds from different fields to look what can actually be stand out. It is more of vertical mining. It is a vertical mining to value add with unique selling point. So if you cannot take this, how would that be for us to claim I stand unique? Is it? Excuse me. So this is how actually I make my project very unique. So every steps has got its own way of doing things that you really need time, and I have the tools to do it. Okay, and let's go for the third step. Will be the third threefold rubric V cube, which are verify, variate, and validate. Unfortunately, even to date, when I ask my colleagues, have you done these three? Oh, it's time consuming. I do not want to do. Actually, it is not time consuming. It is time consuming because we are not being strategic. If we are strategic, we can do that very easily, and we can generate a lot of knowledge in the process of doing it. So this process is very crucial to get things connected, which often overrides and rewrites of our original embarkation. This is very, very important. So whatever we thought earlier, actually we will override at this phase. It gives an opportunity for us to gain new knowledge, and we will override our prior knowledge. And then this will bring your technology or your innovation goes one step higher. The innovation here includes your research. If research is not innovative, you cannot come up with technology. Okay, so thus the entire innovation can be enriched and enhanced significantly. And the next one is apply. The fourth stage is apply. So many people are stuck here and they take on the path that makes more money. Okay, but impact is greater than money. Impact is greater than money. And therefore, diversification is the key. There is no limitation. So we must go for apply. So this is the place, once you have done V, you can apply for A. That means apply for IP. Go for field test. Okay. And then what? Results. So discussing with collaborators and grant providers, quality of the results matters most. You cannot be showing, I've done this. No, they want results. So they do not want to see, okay, I'll come to the lab, okay, I will see. No, they want results. So you must have results handy. And it determines the future of our innovation. And that is where we build our unique brand, the USP of our innovation. We will have to see if it complies or needs further improvement, moving towards the compliance and conformity to certain quality and performance requirement by the technology seeker. So results, very important. So once the result is over, I have to move a little bit fast, so I couldn't elaborate further. The next step is analyze. Okay, so analyze is for what? For constant improvements, keeps you top of your niche. Must pay serious attention even to smallest details. Some of the greatest innovation comes from thorough analysis. Analyze in which way it can be further improved to help industry, people in a very diverse way by other approaches. It is potentially not to supply for current, but also opens up for new avenue. Means when you analyze, you will find out I can actually derive this into a new solution. So you will branch out with another solution. You will get a new idea. So that will generate another IP. You can go for another grant. So the analyze is very important. But obviously, there are ways of analyzing a lot. There are three distinguished analytical insight. Okay. And the next is outcome. Okay, outcome. So when it comes to outcome, it's time to enjoy our own unique fruit. It's time for us to give back to the economy and society. Right? Sorry. This we have to manage and measure the outcomes of the implementations, as eventually it is taxpayers' money. And we are obligated to serve in many different forms, and this is one of them. So we are returning to what they have paid for. Okay. Therefore, the key is, so I end all the 7, with that I end all the 7 steps Sivarao model, so that you can come up with a blueprint right from the research or innovation idea until the extent of commercialization. And I can ensure that if you apply this, very small percentage would slip out. The huge number will definitely take huge amount of benefit. And I'm very sure we will stand out in the context of technology, product, and process or service development, new development. So the take is, if we couldn't see a problem, right? If you see what I've discussed with you of how I, or rather we always see solutions, but because I was able to see a problem in a solution that others don't see, is what the turning point. So if we couldn't see a problem in an existing solution, the problem is within us, not others. This is my own. Okay. And to summarize, because our talk is intellectual property towards commercialization, the way forward for higher education institution. So intellectual property is the primary key to translate research findings or innovative findings into the commercial market. This is the point. Okay, so I know it is not that easy or not that straightforward to earn an IP, which normally will be managed by technology transfer office. It is not easy, and it requires a lot of money. In Malaysia, it costs us about 10 to 15,000, or sometimes it goes even higher to file a patent. So I'm not so sure about in other countries. Thus, should your university or institution wanted to set up a technology transfer office that manages IPs, bridging between research and commercial, you can always contact me via email or WhatsApp. I am ever willing to guide you, as I have been in lots of trouble, looking for a helping hand when I was first wanted to establish TTO for the very first time. Because I've shared with you all, I was the inaugural director. I started technology transfer office from very scratch with zero. So I learned fundamental, from very fundamental until it cruises finally where I establish policies, guidelines, connects with industry and so on. So you don't have to go through the hustle because I am willing to help you wherever possible. Thus, I wish my help will enable you to understand and execute in much faster pace to get the researcher or researchers in your university gear up into the holistic ecosystem of research to market. And before I end, I'd like to thank my parents, especially my late father, who's the MacGyver. Name it what he can do. And I picked up lots of things before even I enrolled into engineering. So he's my guru, he's my MacGyver. He has passed away about 4 years back. I miss him a lot. And of course, secondly, my mom, who's also just sitting next to me now. My mom, very motivating lady. And I hope everyone will get such parents to motivate. And of course, I also thank University Technical Malaysia Malacca, especially the top management, my dean, because they have always been very supportive in whatever I do. Very encouraging. So I really thank them. And not forgetting, before I move in to this university, I have worked for about 12.5 years in polytechnics, namely Polytechnic Unkuama, which I started my career in 1989. Then I went to a few industries. Then I ventured again. I went to Polytechnic Shah Alam, the red one here, Polytechnic Shah Alam. And then again, I went to industry, came back. I went to Polytechnic Johor Bahru. I had a beautiful opportunity at Polytechnic Johor Bahru because I was a pioneer there. They were to, it was nothing there. It's a red ground. And from the day one, I was there and we brought up the entire Polytechnic until we commissioned. And in the commissioning period, I really learned a lot of things. Lot of things. And that also value adds to what I am today. Okay, so I really thank to all this and also all the industries that I've served that has value add to what I am today. And with that, I think I thank all of you. And for those who wanted to know further about the Sivarao model, you may scan the code on or click the link, or you can scan the code or click the link in the chat box, which I will put in later. All right, so with that, I thank you and I pass back the screen to Assistant Professor Pradeep Kumar. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir, for sharing your expertise on this topic. So now let us take some queries from the participants.
Yes, please.
Sir, dear participants, please use hand raise option if you have any queries to ask sir on this topic, so that we will allow you to unmute. Sir, there were 2 questions in the chat box actually. What is the difference between patent and copyright?
Patent and copyright.
Yes, sir.
Okay, just give me a minute. I have to adjust the screen. Why? Okay, patent and copyright, as explained before, patents are basically for product, process, or combination of both. Whereas copyright is for literary. It's more on literary that you write. So the expression of ideas cannot be protected under copyright, but expression of idea can be protected under copyright. Products, tangible products cannot be protected under copyright. For example, when you receive any product, say I buy an air fryer. The air fryer is patented. It is a product, but it comes along with a user manual. So that user manual is actually literary. So that is protected under copyright. So as I told to you, this may not give you the full spectrum of the answer, because IP basically it takes at least 2 days course for you to understand exactly of IP. How do we go about? Okay. So I hope this answers you well. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. So there is one hand raised from the participants. Mr. Nakul Sharma, please unmute yourself and ask the question.
Thank you, Dr. Shiva, sir, for a wonderful and enlightening session. Sir, my question was that as a researcher, we always have lots of ideas, and we are very much, sometimes it's like that the ideas are divided into two parts. One is that we are having a general idea about any particular topic, and the second is a very specific idea. So, sir, my question is that if we want to go from a general idea to a specific idea, and is it possible to patent both of them and get some products? I'm saying from a large point of view, that if we want to, let us say, develop a large scale industry, or maybe if we have to develop something very big. So is it possible by a combination of all those ideas? Like, what's your say on this, sir?
Right. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. When we talk about this, as I said, when we go for patent, it has got examination by the IP office. So it is not that everything we think we want to patent, we will be able to patent. You will be able to file, but it takes about 3 to 5 years or sometimes even longer to be granted. They have to check into 3 things. The first thing is they have to check whether it is novel. The second one is they will look into inventiveness, whether what you are doing or what you are trying to protect is really inventive, means it is not obvious for the man in your field. And the third one, they will see whether it is industrially applicable. These 3 things they will examine. All right. Supposing yes, they stand out in all these 3 criteria. And when you want to patent, if I can understand from your question, if you have got multiple from one big project, this is what we call normally background IP and foreground IP. Sometimes you have a big IP where stands at the background, and from this background, you will have few other ideas coming in, patching to the background, and this will be standalone foreground IP. So when you have industries coming in, you can opt whether you want to give the right for both, or you can only give the foreground IP. So this is how it works when you have got multiple IPs in one general or the bigger project. But when it is small, specific, you can go for one. And remember, sometimes we miss a lot of opportunities due to the funding constraints in the university or our organizations. In most cases, every solutions that we produce will have more than one IP that you can actually generate. So for instance, you take handphone, easily you have 5 or 6, or perhaps more. So Mr. Nakul, I hope I answer you.
Yes.
So one more hand is from the participants. Mr. Muhammad Akil Ahmad, please unmute yourself and ask the question. Mr. Muhammad, your voice is not audible.
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah, it's clear.
Thank you very much, sir, for your wonderful session.
You're welcome.
Sir, my question is, as you said, it will take 5 years to grant a patent. So I just want to ask that how reliable are these patent granting agencies? What is the probability that if I submit my idea to a patent granting agency, how safe it will be? If it is taking more than 5 years, then how it is possible that my idea will not be still?
Okay. Is that all? Okay, I will answer this question. This is common doubt that we all have. It's common doubt. We are worried because after so many years of research, we are worried. If I give it to the patent agent, he will steal it. He will give it to somebody and he will develop in some other part of the world. This is common, but we must understand the process of patenting. First is the university will appoint the authorized agents. So we will have NDA, non-disclosure agreement with these agents. So whatever we disclose to this agent, they should keep it very secretive. One. Second, we will sit side by side with the agents and they will try to understand what is all about of what we want to patent. And they will come up with patent drafting. They will draft the patent and they should come back and show it to you. And once they show it to you, you will go through, scrutinize properly, look into the claims as well. So the claims are the heart of the patent. If you even patent, but if your claims are not strong, people can still sneak in to generate something else out of your idea. So when this drafting has done, you agree, the agent will then send to the government office. Intellectual property office is a government agency. The agent is the intermediary between the researcher and the government agency. So the examination part will be made by the government agency. So maybe India Intellectual Property Office will do the examination to check the 3 criteria. So when they check that, if they find that, okay, yes, it is okay, then they will grant you. And the grant minimum period is 18 months for the granting. But there is a clause normally. The moment you submit, you will be given a number, submission number. That means not submitting to the agent, the moment the agent submits to the Intellectual Property Office. Okay, the moment he submits to the Intellectual Property Office, they will generate and give you one number. And with this number, you can start negotiating with your collaborators. It's no problem. You don't have to wait until it is granted. Only then you want to make a move. No, not necessary. So you can move from the day one that you got the number. Like in Malaysia, they give you the PI number. And then in this process, within 1 to 10 years or 3 years or 5 years, depending on how efficiency or how busy your office are, they will examine and they will say, okay, you fulfill all the criteria. They will grant it. Or before granted, what they will do, in case if there are any gaps, they would want to understand better, they will again contact the agent to rectify, to identify what exactly they want to know. So the agent will contact you and you will sit together and you will decide whether shall I proceed or I should not, because the examination questions are very valid and very tough for me to answer. So you can opt. If you don't answer, means you will never get the patent. But normally we will answer all those questions and through the agent we will resubmit. And this will take some time. Unless the submission is perfect, then you don't have the examination coming back. See, so once you get the PI number, you can move on until you get the granted. So once you get the granted, that's the biggest license. I hope you get the flow of the patenting. Right. And one more idea is this. This is what normally I do. I have a book of ideas, and that is why my handphone is always a note. It's a Samsung Note. Because at 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, you get ideas, you will write. And come back to office, I will transfer from there to a book. I have a compilation of innovation ideas. I have hundreds of ideas. So even these actually can become an evidence when someone infringed. This can be an evidence. And that is why I always make a point. When I draft my idea in my idea book, I will put a date and time. So that if after 10 years, after 20 years, someone infringes, you can still show this. Look, at this time, I've already had this idea. So you still have a room for argument and stop their claims. I think that is all. The same as what Da Vinci has done. Da Vinci has come up with so many innovation ideas, right? All right. Thank you.
So can we take some more questions or go for valedictory? Okay, dear participants, if you have any more queries, please let us know in the query section provided in the feedback link so that we'll forward it to the sir. He'll revert back with his answers in his leisure. So that's it for this session. So dear participants, we'll have the valedictory program in 5 minutes, after which the feedback and online assessment test link will be shared here. Please stay online. Thank you. Thank you, sir.